Hi, my name is Chase Jackson, and today I will be presenting my food and dietary analysis. My goals are to gain weight and muscle through increasing my calorie intake and exercise. I'm not a picky eater, and for the most part, I'm okay with trying new foods. I prefer home cooked meals, fruits, and vegetables, and I plan on exercising 5 days a week with 2 rest days. My percentage of grains was over the daily value. This could be because of the amount of bread and processed foods I consumed over the 3 days. Since my goal is to gain weight, overconsumption of grains such as bread can contribute to that. This is because it is high on the glycemic index, which means that its consumption leads to an increase in blood sugar levels. My percentage intake of fruits was 74%, which is less than the recommended daily value. Realistically, eating more fruits is very possible for me, as this can be done through making homemade smoothies, having fruits as dessert, or have as a side with daily breakfast. The cafe offers many options for fruit during each mealtime. It's important to consume the recommended daily amount of fruit because they provide the body with nutrients such as vitamin A, vitamin C, potassium, and fiber. My dairy intake was a lot less than the daily value, which is what I expected since I'm lactose intolerant. I'm careful about consuming dairy. Not many of the foods I ate had dairy, but some had it in small amounts. This can be increased by taking lactase tablets before consuming dairy products, drinking almond milk, leafy vegetables, and eating soybeans. Nutrients that dairy provides us with are protein, riboflavin, vitamin B12, calcium, potassium, and when fortified, vitamin A and vitamin D. My vegetable intake was only 43%, which is less than the recommended value. Realistically, I see myself consuming more vegetables since they're easy to make and readily accessible for me with the grocery store being nearby. To increase my intake, I can pick up pre-made salads a few times a week from the grocery store, or I can cook frozen vegetables to eat as a side with my meals, eat side salads with meals in the dining hall, and include vegetables in my pasta. Some nutrients that vegetables provide us with are folate, vitamin K, magnesium, and some sources of vegetables include spinach, broccoli, kale, and peas. My protein intake was above the recommended value, although it isn't much over. Too much protein can be a bad thing. To reduce this, I could try switching the source of protein and consuming it in smaller amounts. Instead of eating meat, I can choose legumes and tofu as an alternative. Consuming more than the recommended daily amount would contribute to muscle gain alongside daily exercises. Sources of protein include seafood, meats, poultry, eggs, and nuts. For dietary fiber, I didn't consume the daily recommended value for this period. To increase my fiber intake, I can consume more fruits such as bananas, eat more oatmeal, and consume beans and avocados. This won't be a challenge for me since I usually include oatmeal as my meal for breakfast and eat bananas after exercising or have them as a snack. My vitamin D intake was extremely low. This can be improved through supplements such as fish oil pills. Eating more fish, mushrooms, and yogurt can also increase my vitamin D intake. I can also spend more time outside, like for doing my work or choosing to exercise on the track to absorb vitamin D from the sun. UV lamps are good alternatives to sunlight. For fats and oils, my percentage was 0. This can be increased through using coconut oil, eating avocados, using seed butters, and seed oils. This does not seem very realistic for me, as these are things that I don't usually consume since I don't have much time to cook. This may present a challenge for getting the adequate amount of fats and oils. For legumes, my intake was 0. I don't usually consume legumes, but given that they are recommended to have daily, it seems realistic for me to add them in my diet. This amount can be increased by adding black beans to my rice bowl order at Chipotle, which also adds more protein. Although this can still present a challenge since I don't eat Chipotle very often or really enjoy the taste of beans, but I'm willing to sacrifice that in order to get my daily recommended amount of legumes. Some sources of legumes include peas, lentils, and beans. For nuts and seeds, I did not consume any. I feel that realistically, I consume an adequate amount daily. A lot of nuts are packaged in a way that you're able to eat them on the go. I feel that this will make eating these much easier and I can meet my goal without even realizing. A challenge for me could possibly be finding nuts that I like. For carbohydrate distribution, my intake for carbohydrates was between the recommended value. I assumed it would be higher because I do like to consume a lot of bread, and I did consume a good amount of bread during this 3-day period. Consuming more whole grains could help maintain my intake levels. Bread can be replaced with cucumber slices, portobello mushrooms, and sweet potato slices. For calories, I was over the daily recommended intake, but not by much. I was expecting to be under. My caloric intake can change depending on my school workload. So sometimes I don't have enough time to cook a meal. This causes me to resort to fast foods or smoothen or frozen foods which aren't healthy. This hasn't affected my body weight, so I feel comfortable with the weight I'm at now. I don't think my current calorie intake will cause me to gain weight since I am not that much over the recommended value, which means in order to gain weight, I will have to eat more than the daily recommended amount of calories. Lastly, my iron intake was less than what is required. This can be reversed through consumption of fish and leafy greens. This was most likely caused by a lack of vegetables and fish in my recorded diet. This can also be caused by an inability to absorb iron, which is common among many people. Over time, lack of iron consumption can cause an iron deficiency, which leads to other health problems.